click open Zoom US? Usually it opens automatic. Or should I launch the Zoom Workplace app?
No, just go with the. Well, did you download the app? Is it on there?
I think it's on here, but I don't want to hit anything to fucking start
Oh.
downloading. But it's not opening. What the fuck?
Hold on one second. Hold on.
I've used this before.
Hold on. Hang on. Let me just mute everything. Hang on a second.
Yeah. Let's see if I hit the app. App is unable to join. Say I'm not part of the organization. I guess I never use the app. It's always the browser. So I am using let me mute. Can you hear? Can you hear me talking through the now? No. All right, so the mic doesn't work. I don't have it hooked up right. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Are we live? Are we live out there? All right. A little different this week, everybody. Yes, we have to roll with the punches. The hall had prior engagements that they could not move. Okay, so we are still going to give you the class just like if you were sitting in the class. So I wonder how many people are out there right now at Deer Park trying to get into the hall. If you're one of those, that means you did not check the 2 emails we sent out, our Instagram post, which had a video attached telling you there was no live class this Saturday. Guys, I tell you, the guys and girls, I tell you this all the time. You got to check your emails, all right? First of all, you know there's a department procedure on that. So you should be getting good with your emails. If you're not, check your emails. We send messages out, Instagram messages. If you can't follow these simple directions, God help you in February, all right? I hope everybody is home watching this with a nice cup of coffee. Okay, we're going to make the best of it. And nobody is standing out there trying to get into a hole where they have communions and confirmations and whatnot going on. So this week is lesson 3. We're covering 3 different sections of the admin guide. A lot of these procedures used to be in the patrol guide and they moved it over to the admin guide. I know I mentioned it in class. Do not prepare by just opening up the admin guide, whether it's in the key library or on your phone, and reading, like today we're covering 324, 329, and 330. Reading all those procedures that are in the admin guide itself. No good. A lot of those procedures you do not need to know, okay? By preparing the right way, you should be looking at a lesson plan. A lesson plan has the procedures you need to know. When it comes to the AG, all right, like this week and next week, that's the way you prepare for class. I'm going to remind you all again. You need to prepare for class, right? Study at home, come to class, we break it down. Then when you're done, whatever we can't cover in class, finish the material, okay? Then you got to click into review mode. Go back. We're on lesson 3 now. Go back to lesson 1, lesson 2. Review that stuff. Then get ready for the next lesson, which will be in 2 weeks, all right? Start reading what's required for lesson 4. We're only 3 weeks in. You may not think it's a lot right now, okay? You may not think it's a lot right now, but it will build up. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming your way. So stay on top of the review. Before we get into any actual material, for this is a live stream that's open to everybody. So there may be some non-key students out there that have not signed up. If you're looking to sign up, we'll still obviously accept you into our program. Send us an email and we will give you a deal you can't refuse. All right. For those that are with us now, the 5,000 plus, you know why you're with us. All right. The best in the business. Okay. We teach from experience. Experience. Yes. Can you see right here? My shield, and on top, bunch of departmental recognitions that you get when you do police work. To do police work in the NYPD, you have to be a police officer. Then you take a promotional exam. You're going to see in today's lesson how I teach stuff that somebody from outside the NYPD who was never on our job cannot teach it the way we teach, all right? And if you know what I'm talking about, you know. So before we get into the lesson, next class is 2 weeks from today. Our week starts on a Saturday, right? So Saturday, June 13th will be lesson 4. And we're covering AG section 331, which deals with evals, 332, which deals with employment discrimination procedures, and 318, which deals with discipline. So prepare by reading from our book, our lesson plan. Do not just open up the admin guide and start reading, okay? Review and prepare by using our material. That's what we got next week. Now, you know, I started doing something, okay? I gave you my favorites from each lesson. Now, just because they're my favorites does not mean they are guaranteed to appear on test day, but they historically have appeared. And if I'm sitting in your chair, I am going to know those procedures in and out. So from today's lesson, here's a few of George's favorites, all right? Again, my favorites only. Take it for what it's worth. Today's lesson, 324.17, 324.05, 324.07, 329.07, 329.12, 330, 1, 2, and 3. And I'll repeat them again. You got 324.17, 324.05, 324.07, 329.07, 329.12, and then you got 330.01, 330.02, and 330.03. All right, that's my favorites. Take that for what it's worth. If I'm sitting in your chair, I'm going to know those procedures. Okay, so today I want to start on page 14. A lot of stuff. All right, over 50 pages of material. going to go through the most important stuff, okay? Remember, disclaimer right here. I say it every class and I'm going to keep saying it. So at the end, when you hit the test and you say, well, he told us not to study that. I never say not to study anything, okay? I only can cover, and the other instructors as well, can only cover a certain amount of material during the class. You're responsible for everything we give you, okay? Take that and don't forget it. So let's go to page 14. 32417, AWOL, one of my favorite procedures. Examiners love it as well. All right, absence without leave. Basically, this procedure is there for you guys and girls only. Uniform members of the service, when you're not at work, when you're supposed to be, all right, we have to follow some type of steps. It's only for uniform members of the service. It's not for civilians. Why? Because we don't care if the civilian doesn't show up. If we need a civilian, what do? Go to Home Depot parking lot. We'll get like 7 that will do a better job than some of the ones we have in the command. Uniform members of the service only. And again, I say what I say. So on test day, you're going to remember that thing I just said, that line I just said about civilians, how this does not apply to them because we can find them in the Home Depot parking lot. All right. So the way I like to break 32417 up is into two procedures. You have a 2-hour rule and a 4-hour rule. Know this procedure cold. If you look, what is it? Not even a half a page of bulleted information. If you put that together, a few paragraphs at most. Please know this cold. So it starts off by saying when somebody's AWOL for 2 hours at the beginning of the tour. Before we even get into that, let's refresh your memory, all right? 20218, desk officer duty, okay? Desk officer duty. I'm hoping you remember this. I don't need to remember this come February. You do. So here is a line in 20218. The desk officer will immediately investigate unaccounted for MOS at the start of the tour. That's from 20218. And then after 2 hours, follow this procedure we're doing now. If you remember that line, great. And again, you don't need to memorize it. On test day, you just need to identify it, all right? There is going to be no question that says, give me the definition of blah, 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 and you have to fill in the definition. No, it's going to be right in front of you. A, B, C, or D, you need just to identify the right statement. So don't get caught up in, oh shit, how do I memorize this? Memorize that is too much. Forget about memorizing, all right? So 2 hours after the start of the tour, Officer Mifsud is not there. Not a big deal, 2 hours. Maybe he overslept. What do? All right. There are 4 bold bullets. I highly recommend you number the bullets because in a scenario like this, they can say, what is the first thing the desk officer should do to, try and locate Officer Mifsud, who is not here 2 hours after the start of the tour. And what they're going to do is A, B, C, and D are all correct, but you need to know what is the first step. So I like to teach it that way. So step 1, desk officer, you're going to make telephone inquiries to who? Roll call, sick desk supervisor. They take out the supervisor and you're screwed, all right? Sick desk supervisor, court sign-in rooms, and the member's residence. Step 1, make all those telephone inquiries. You can't find me. Where am I? Okay. Step 2, desk officer. Check department records, including but not limited to the telephone record, CPR system roll call. Regarding the telephone record, going back to week 1, who maintains the telephone record? Obviously, I can't hear your answer, but if you guys and girls don't know it's the desk officer, I'm telling you right now, you need to step up your review. The desk officer maintains the telephone record. TSOP maintains the telephone dispatch log, all right, which the desk officer will sign it when? After the 4th hour and at the end of tour. The way I recite this, you don't need to recite it. You just need to know it, all right? It's got to be in your head somewhere. Step 2 was done. Desk can't find me. Now what do? Now we question precinct personnel as deemed necessary. Let's ask some of the cops, hey, Do you know where Officer Mifsud was? Maybe they were out with me last night and they knew I was tired and I'm probably knocked out at my house. No luck. Now we go to step four. We're going to actually go check on the cop. You're going to come check on me. Now be careful with this, all right? If we're in the city, the five boroughs, we will request the desk officer of the member's resident precinct to have a boss respond to the cop's residence, my residence, all right? So in the city, we have a boss respond. We don't send our cops to go check on a cop. We will send a boss, all right? Good test question right there. Now, if we're outside the city, now we request intercity correspondence unit to notify the local police department to respond. So I live out here in Nassau County. I'm a cop. You can't find me. Now we just go to ICCU, send Nassau County. It does not have to be a boss, all right? In the city has to be a boss. One little caveat I want you to remember here. Keep this in your head for the remainder and for test day. When you see something that says outside the city, two places should pop up in your head as a default answer. Right here was intercity correspondence unit, and the other one is operations. Those should be your default go-to answers, all right? When you see something that has to do with outside the city. So 2 hours went by, can't find me. Now we're getting worried, all right? So now it's 4 hours. Can't find me. What are we doing? We want to make sure I'm actually alive. I'm not in some bathtub with ice and my kidneys and organs were removed because I was doing some stupid shit last night, all right? So after 4 hours, what does the desk officer do? The desk officer notifies the following. Now, with desk officer notifications, you will see throughout the guide, there are standard notifications that pop up over and over. And the acronym I use is a COP. The desk officer notifies CO duty captain, operations, and the patrol bureau. Those are standard notifications that you will see over and over. In this procedure right here, there are 4 notifications, all right? Who's the desk notifying? CO duty captain, borough, ops, IEB command center. That's the extra one added, okay? So 4 hours AWOL equals 4 hours, 4 hours AWOL equals 4 notifications. You can't mess that up. 4 hours AWOL equals 4 notifications. For anybody out there who's watching, I just taught you a teaching lesson, all right? Nobody besides us at the key uses 4 hours AWOL equals 4 notifications. So anybody else out there that wants to be like us, you just got that one for free, okay? Now, here's another thing to remember. When we make notifications, whether we're calling somebody or the phone call is coming in and we're receiving a notification, 95% of the time, where are we documenting it? In the telephone record. So you really want to ace this test. What should you start doing? Here's something I would do. Anytime we make a notification and it doesn't go in the telephone record, start making a list. It's not going to be that hard. Just like I said, when you break the chain of command, when you go to your CO, a cop going to the CO, start making a list. As you write this stuff down, every time you come across it, it's going to be in your head. Then you use those lists for review, all right? So these notifications, these 4 notifications are going in the command log. Very important point there. And they could get a lot of people, all right? I mentioned acing the test. I don't know if you could see my shirt, but I'm wearing the white key shirt. I'm wearing white on purpose. I want all of you out there to remember this. You don't just want to be a sergeant. You need to be a sergeant to become a lieutenant. And if you want to go higher than lieutenant, good for you. Keep going up. But you need to be at least a lieutenant. Still the best rank on the job. But the only way to get there is to pass this sergeant's test. And if you ace this sergeant exam, which many of you will, and you're in that first or second group, there's a good chance you can take the next lieutenant exam, which is coming up in the fall of 2027. You'll roll right into our lieutenant's course, be rocking and rolling, and you'll pass that exam as well, all right? So very important procedure. One thing got to mention here in the box, an MOS AWOL for an entire tour. Now we mentioned 2 hours and 4 hours. Now we're talking about the whole tour, all right? will not be assigned to duty without prior permission of who? Chief of department. Like if they go to that, you're going to have chief of department, chief of personnel, chief of IB. They're going to make some all choices up. Easy test question if they come to you on test day. So right here, this procedure, you got to know it cold. Number the steps when the person is not around 2 hours after the tour. Number those 1, 2, 3, and 4. Know them in that order. You may not see what's the first thing you do, but they've done it on a prior exam. If they hit you with that one, I promise you will get it right, and the majority of test takers are going to get it wrong. Listen, there's going to be a pool where a lot of you get the same questions right because those are the run-of-the-mill procedures, like we always say, missings, line of duties, which we're covering today, all right? You know it's coming, so everybody's going to be prepared for that. But something like this will separate you on the list because the majority of people are not going to get this right. So if you get this right, you are going to jump a lot of people. All right. All right. Now let's go to page 26. My cup of Joe here, my cup of coffee, keep me going. It's not the same talking to a computer. I like to look at you guys and girls in the face and make sure you're awake and you're making notes and you're highlighting, etc. All right. Regular sick. You're going to see a sick procedure question, whether it's regular or admin, coming your way, okay? Starting with the box on the right. Paid detail rules. You cannot do paid detail while out sick, even while you're outside your assigned tour or on your RDO. Because you're going to see while you're out sick, most of you, there's going to be some that cannot, you only have to stay home for that tour you're supposed to work. Paid detail, doesn't matter, you can't do it, all right? And you will notify the paid detail unit as soon as the member knows they won't be able to make their scheduled assignment. So we have a definition here of regular sick. Regular sick means you're not eligible for admin or you declined administrative return sick. Regular sick requires a visit to the department surgeon. So you're going to report to your assigned district surgeon at their next regular office hours, except for the following 5 times. If you're chronic B and you go sick, now what do? You're going to, I'm going to say it once, then I'm going to abbreviate it. The medical division's special confidential medical district at their next regular office hours. I'm going to call them SMD, so you know who I'm talking about, all right? If you go sick on a Friday or a Saturday, now what do? You'll go into the medical division's weekend surgeon. Now they specify a time, 1,000 hours the following day. So if you go sick on a Friday, 1,000 hours Saturday, you're going. You go sick on a Saturday, 1,000 hours Sunday, you're going to the weekend surgeon. If you go sick and you state, I'm unable to travel, you will be directed to remain at your place of confinement and you have to call the sick desk supervisor. Very important. Notice that it's bold there. When we bold something or italicize it or uppercase it, it's there. It's done like that for a reason, okay? If you go sick for dental problems, you'll be guided by the sick desk supervisor. And then there's the last one is like kind of a catch-all, when directed otherwise by the medical division supervisor. All right, so now you're going to go regular sick. Who are you calling? I want you to highlight the first bullet because when we go admin sick, we're not calling the same person as we're calling here, the first call, all right? So regular sick, you're going to notify the medical division sick desk direct. You're going to obtain 3 things: a sick serial number, the sick desk name, and the time they were notified. Inform them of any changes of address, location, or phone number. Then your second call, you'll notify desk officer or supervisor at your assigned command, and you give the desk officer or supervisor the sick serial number. So this could be a tough test question if they went there, and we have it in the box for you. When you call and go sick, you're getting 3 pieces of information, but when you call your command, you're only giving them 1, all right? And it says notify desk officer, obviously if you're in a patrol-related command, or supervisor, because you may not be in a patrol-related command, narco, whatever it is, all right? That's why it says supervisor at your assigned command. Under the box, that picture this, some of this stuff I don't cover, doesn't mean don't look at it at home. Good test question to just go over what we just said. So you're out sick, sorry. remain at your residence, or authorized location while out sick unless three scenarios. Permission to leave is granted by who? Department surgeon or sick desk supervisor. Don't let them switch that up with your desk officer, right? Or your RDO, or outside your assigned tour of duty. So if you go sick and you do day tours, you only have to stay home for the day tour. There's going to be an exception to that in a minute, all right? What if your tours vary? So here's the rule. If your tours vary, the tour you were scheduled for on the day you went sick is the tour for the duration of the sick leave. So you have to stay at home unless you fall under one of these three categories. Permission by the surgeon or sick desk supervisor, your RDO, or it's outside your assigned tour. Now slide to the right and look at the box here. Great test question. If you're chronic A or B, modified, suspended, on dismissal probation, or the surgeon deems home confinement is necessary, now you have to remain at your residence or authorized location the entire sick time, even when you're not scheduled to be on duty, which includes your RDOs. But there's still one way you can get out of your house if you fall into one of these problems, all right? Chronic, modified, suspended, dismissal, probation. If you have your surgeon or sick desk supervisor's permission, you can then get out of your house. Please know the difference on the bottom of this page, all right? Top of the next page. UMOS, do not leave New York City or the resident counties. That's where we're allowed to live. Remember the acronym, sworn PO. Without approval of who? Chief of Personnel. Another easy test question right there. They're just going to make it a bunch of different chiefs. But you have to request approval through the district surgeon if necessary, okay? So, but chief of personnel who approves it, but it goes through your district surgeon. So you ought to report to the department surgeon at the next office hours as directed by the medical division, which we talked about the exceptions on a prior page. If you're unable to visit the surgeon, notify the sick desk supervisor and be guided by them. Comply with lawful orders or instructions of a supervisor, regardless of rank, dispatched by competent authority to visit members of the service who are out on sick report. Yes, yes, yes. This was kind of covered already in general regs. You are a lieutenant out sick. I'm just making this up to give you an example. Lieutenant out sick, you have a sergeant from IEB or the medical division who comes knocking on your door and says, hey, Lou, you got to report for a GO or you got to see the surgeon, blah, 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 0900 hours. You have to go, even though you outrank that person. That's what this is saying right there, okay? Then you return to duty as directed by department surgeon. While you're out sick, the routine visits box. If you're not chronic or not referred for supervision, you are not subject to routine visits or calls for the following type of sick: heart condition, broken limb, post-surgical, pregnant, illness diagnosed by department surgeon as likely to be in excess of 6 months. And then the CO of the medical division or designee may revoke permission upon notice to the MOS and the district surgeon. All right, desk officer, you got the call now. Cop is out, regular sick. You're going to record the sick in 3 spots: sick log, telephone record, CPR system roll call. You ought to query the sick reporting system to ensure the uniformed member is listed as being sick. Next one is a great test question. If the member is scheduled for either of the next 2 platoons, notify the relieving desk officer or supervisor. If a member is going sick out of the state or country, like you're on vacation wherever, Poconos or DR, and you have to go sick, desk is going to notify the sick desk supervisor if we have special unusual circumstances. If you suspect a cop of malingering, you will notify the medical division's absence control and investigations unit. Now, test scenario, they may use the word malingering. They may not. So you have to decipher what is malingering. Here's a prime example. You have a cop, PO Mifsud, calling the desk. What's up? Can I go admin sick? Nah, no admin sick. Hang up. PO Mifsud then goes regular sick. I'm fucking malingering, okay? So now you're going to call the medical division's absence control and investigation unit. And if a cop is scheduled to appear in court or the trial room, we have to comply with 33004, which is notifying court, trial room, or other when MOS goes out sick. Regarding limited capacity, if you want to go limited, it says you do not have to go out sick, but you must visit the surgeon, except pregnant and you're requesting to go limited, you don't have to visit the surgeon. At the bottom of the page, we have another test question there for you, a good example, all right? Listen, test questions regarding that. I see the emails that come in saying, hey, I don't understand why I'm making up. C is right and A is incorrect. Send us an email like you did, and we will shoot it over to our review team. The one who's making these questions is the best test taker in the NYPD history, retired Inspector Anthony Russo. He's making these questions extremely challenging for you. We want you to get some wrong, all right? You get it wrong, then we explain why you got it wrong, and you will never, ever, ever get it wrong, all right? So don't be discouraged with these questions that you get wrong. I'm telling you, he's making them super challenging, which is great for you guys and girls, all right? Next procedure, next page, 33002, admin sick. Almost guaranteed to see it. All right. This only applies to us, uniformed members of the service. Civilians cannot go administrative return sick. You have definitions here of admin sick. So it's one tour. You have to call the desk officer or your boss at least 2 hours prior to the start of your tour, and you don't have to visit the surgeon. That's one day, all right? Then it says you must report for duty on the next scheduled tour following the administrative excusal. However, which I'm sure most of you know, all right? If you're still sick the next day, you call the desk officer supervisor 2 hours prior to the tour and no visit to the district surgeon, and that will count as one sick event. That is administrative return sick. And now, what could you do? I'm sure you all have done it. I've done it myself, all right? And again, only if you've been on the job, you know what I'm talking about, and you can teach this, okay? So you have your 2 days admin. You still got 3 tours left. Let's extend this into the whole week. So what do we do on the 3rd day? If you're still sick on the 3rd day, you're going to report regular sick, be guided by the sick desk, and upon consolidation by the medical division, this will count as one sick incident. Yes, you got day 1 admin, day 2 admin. Now you go sick. It's going to be turned into a regular sick, but it counts as one sick occurrence. Admin sick, not authorized. Great acronym. Limbless doctor, right? Please know this acronym cold. All right, so the L, line of duty, can't go admin. The I, injury. Now, all it says is injury, but I want you to write the words any, because they may give you a scenario and try and fool you where you have a super duper minor injury, all right? Doesn't matter. Any injury, no admin sick will be granted. M is for mutual. You swap tours with somebody in your command, and now you want to go admin? Nope. The next one is chronic B. They're all important, but watch the chronic B. They'll switch somebody on test day for chronic A, and yes, that person can get admin, all right? Chronic B, no admin. All right, the next L is for late, less than 2 hours pre-tour. Yes, yes, yes. You want to go admin, you got to give us 2 hours notification in advance, all right? On test day, if they have a cop calling you on the desk and it's 1 hour and 59 minutes before their tour, guess what? You can't go admin. What are you going to do? Go regular then, all right? No admin. The next one, stress psychological. That's common sense. Why would we grant admin? Somebody who's going sick for that reason is going to be out a while. This one is for you to utilize your supervision, all right? Supervisor deems it inappropriate. Next one, M, major illness, no admin. So minor illness, yes. And then last, dental. Dental, I don't care what it is, you're filling a cavity, no admin, all right? Watch the dental and chronic B, but forget about just watch those two. Know this acronym cold. Know it cold. And when you look at this and you do your review, you need to be saying to yourself, how are they going to get me on test day, because most likely this shit is coming your way. All right. All right. So you want to go admin sick. First call. Now look where it's going. Unlike regular, in regular, who'd you call? You call the medical division. Now you want to go admin. Look what it says. Notify desk officer supervisor at assigned command by phone or in person at least 2 hours pre-tour. Easy. We read that and it sounds like it's a simple statement. Look carefully again. Notify desk officer supervisor at assigned command by phone, which is the way we all go sick, or in person. So you could be on the desk on test day. You have a cop who comes up to you and says, hey, I want to go admin sick, standing in front of you. Why the fuck are you here? You should have just called me. Watch out for that on test day, all right? You can go admin sick in person. Inform the desk officer supervisor of any pending arraignment, court, trial room, or any other government appearance. If your command has no available supervisor or is otherwise closed, now you're going to call the sick desk supervisor to request admin sick and notify the command when it reopens. All right, the next actor is desk officer, supervisor, or sick desk supervisor, depending on who you got a hold of. Query the medical division sick reporting system to determine if the uniform member is eligible for admin. If eligible, place the uniform member on admin via the medical division sick reporting system and provide the sick serial number. If not eligible, direct the member to report regular sick. Comply with 330.04, notifying court when the MOS is out sick if appropriate, okay? Then we tell you after this step, the desk officer and a member follows all of the regular sick rules that we covered in the prior procedure. So we didn't repeat it for you. It's identical to what we just covered, okay? Little box on the right side. Most of the time, I don't go through the box, but I tell you, make sure you look at it. These boxes that John Monahan makes, all right, they are priceless. We sometimes compare information from all over the guide and you see how similar and different it could be. We have it for you in a box. Shame on you if you don't read those boxes on during your review. All right, next procedure. 330.04, notifying court when somebody's reporting sick. All right, UMOS. If you have court, trial room, or any other government appearance and you are going sick, you are to inform the desk officer or supervisor of any pending appearance. Desk officer, what do? Make an entry in the command diary under the date of appearance and 2 days prior, not counting Saturday, Sundays, or holidays. If it's a pending arraignment, means the cop is drawing up a new arrest, you have to then notify the borough court section concerned. Then it has some duties for roll call, right? Roll call will immediately notify the court regarding the member's inability to attend due to them being on sick. And then 2 days before the date of appearance, that's why the desk officer makes that entry 2 days before. Roll call is somebody's going to get involved. You don't need to know. Somebody's going to get involved and say, hey, can this cop show up for the court appearance even though they are out sick? And that determination will be made. If the member is unable to appear, notify court and request an adjournment. In a date of a scheduled appearance, notify court on the morning of the appearance, except criminal court, and enter all notifications in the telephone record. There it is. You're going to see this 95, 99% of the time. Telephone record is where we document these calls, all right? Next procedure, definitely coming your way. Line of duty, injury or death in or out of the city, 330.03. I'm going to run this just like if we were in person, right? Do like 45 minutes, we take a break. So this is going to probably bring us right to our first break. Line of duty, injury or death in or out of the city. The cop who is looking to go line of duty, you're going to request a supervisor to respond. Second step, notify the desk officer of the circumstances of the injury. Give the desk officer the names and addresses of witnesses. Ask witnesses to await arrival of supervisors. Remain at the scene unless hospitalization, medical attention, or further police action is necessary. And if you're reporting a line of duty injury outside the city, don't even look. Remember what I said earlier, outside the city, default to who? Intercity correspondence unit or operations. Now let's see what it says. So if you're reporting line of duty injury outside the city, you got to do two things. Notify the local law enforcement and notify, there it is, operations unit immediately. That's your default when you see outside the city, okay? After an investigation is done, because one's going to be done by an investigating supervisor, the cop will prepare the line of duty injury report on the LAN or smartphone in the reporting system. I'm not going to say the whole thing, I'm going to say it once. Line of duty injury reporting system, okay? Include witness info and related information, photos, hospital discharge papers, and submit electronically to who? The investigating supervisor. Who's that? You're going to find out in a minute. And the cop looking to go line of duty is to consult the medical division's land page for line of duty prescription program coverage eligibility. Next page. All right, here is the next actor, investigating supervisor. So the definition right here is in the box. I'm going to tell you this now. There are other procedures in the guide that call somebody investigating supervisor. It's not the same. Each procedure has a different definition or meaning of who the IS is. So for line of duty, who is the IS? Step one. Well, not step one. The first person will be a sergeant or above from the member's command. Sergeant or above. So it could be patrol sergeant, platoon commander, all right? XOCO. If nobody's available, then it could be the supervisor, precinct of occurrence. If this is out of the city, the investigating supervisor will be a captain or above. They could easily ask you that. And you will not be the investigating supervisor if this happens outside the city, right? And then you're not going to be responsible for all the stuff that's going to kick in a minute. And if force was used against us, we're going to then default to 22106, which is way, way down the road, all right? And the IS will be a supervisor who is uninvolved and one rank higher than all involved members. All right. Investigating supervisor for a line of duty, sergeant or above from the member's command. You're going to respond to the scene, request medical attention if necessary, interview injured members and witnesses, investigate circumstances. Now, paperwork wise, all right? We can number them so you can remember the paperwork. First piece of paper is a witness statement. The IS will ensure, doesn't mean you do it, ensure the preparation of a witness statement. Who does it? MOS does a witness statement on the LAN through the database, right? If we have a witness who is a non-MOS, civilian out there in the street, they're going to fill a witness statement injury to member of department report out for us. Now, the next piece of paper is going to be one or the other, not both. If a vehicle is involved, it will be a police crash report. If the incident involves a vehicle collision, the investigating supervisor prepares the PCR. So we got to make a change. This is one reason why we give you the books at the last second, okay? Your material says police accident report. It's now changed to police crash report. This changed on May 5th as per revision order 33. So in this procedure, you got to change it right here, right? Change the title, and then at the end of the first bullet, change the A to a C. This is going to appear again in 217, but by the time you get that book, it's going to be updated for you, okay? So it's not called a police accident report no more. It's called a police crash report. If no vehicle involved, now we're talking an aided, right? If no vehicle collision, the IS directs an injured MOS to prepare the aided report. If the MOS is incapacitated, assign another member to prepare the aided. So you got some stuff going on there, okay? Incapacitated and not. Just keep that in the back of your head. Next piece of paper, which we saw on the prior page, the line of duty injury report. The injured cop does it, right? Injured MOS does a line of duty, but look at this. I would highlight. If the member is incapacitated, now the IS prepares the line of duty. So the member's incapacitated, the IS does the line of duty. Let's say there's no vehicle. Will the IS do the aided for the MOS being incapacitated? Nope. The boss will assign another member, okay? Review the line of duty for completeness accuracy. Indicate recommendation for approval, disapproval of line of duty designation. Include findings of review of available body-worn camera or other video surveillance of the incident. Make an entry indicating whether FICA applies or not. This kicks in when you're apprehending or attempting to apprehend somebody who committed a violation of a federal statute. By the way, if you want to go out with a accidental disability pension, okay, what they call 3/4, you want to go out where FICA is involved because it's now 4/4. It's not 3/4. Listen, 3/4 pension is very nice, I'm sure, okay? 4/4 will be a hell of a lot more money. So plan your line of duty in some type of bank robbery or some other scenario, okay? And the cop will electronically sign off on the line of duty before the end of tour unless there's some type of exceptional circumstances. Great recap right here. This is what I tell you about the boxes. This is the stuff we do for you here at the Key. We take that patrol guide material and turn it into material you can absorb and digest, unlike no one out there, okay? Like John Monahan said, we are not here to entertain you. We're here to teach you so you could become bosses. You want to look at PowerPoints and fucking crossword puzzles and fill in the blanks? Go right ahead. We teach you the way you're supposed to learn, all right? So the investigating supervisor and the 3 reports, the IS always prepares the PCR. Make sure you change that A to a C. The IS never prepares the aided, and the IS sometimes prepares the line of duty. And when's that sometime? When the member is incapacitated. Great 3 strong statements in that box. Now look who pops up. Patrol Sergeant. They obviously didn't change any actor's name, right? This comes from the additional data. If an MOS is hospitalized or dies, Patrol Sergeant will ensure that firearms, department property, shield ID nameplate, and personal effects of the member are removed and safeguarded. All right, next page. Desk officer duty. Something to keep in mind as I read these bullets and you follow along. There's a chance on test day that the desk officer has no duties for a line of duty injury scenario. There's a chance. Now, keep that in your head as we go through. Desk officer notifications. If, big word, if the member is not from the precinct of occurrence, now you notify the member's command. Next bullet. If, again, if the member requires hospital treatment, now you notify operations. Next bullet. If the MOS is DOA or likely, now you got to make the following notifications. Who? Borough CO, Precinct COXO duty captain, operations, and highlight the last one. This was the most recent change, okay? When I say recent, probably since you last studied. Medical examiner or assistant. Again, it all starts with if. And the next scenario starts with, is an if involved as well. The desk will notify the sick desk supervisor or sick desk if you have an MOS looking to go line of duty and they are off duty. Get it in your head right now. Off duty has nothing to do with witnesses, all right? You don't need a witness, all right? They're off duty. Let's say they're at the Knick game, whenever it's coming up. Off duty. We're on TV. The PC's in the crowd. The mayor's in the crowd. And this cop gets involved and takes action and is injured in the line of duty. Because he's off duty, even though there are thousands of witnesses, even the PC, the desk still has to notify the sick desk supervisor or the sick desk. Now, the next bullets only apply if the incident was not witnessed. So what is it, all right? Not witnessed, and it occurred inside any police facility like a building, office, parking lot, sidewalk, or not witnessed and occurred in the immediate vicinity of any police facility, or not witnessed and occurred within the first 2 hours of the tour. Please get that down. That's to prevent the guys and girls who got hurt at work, hurt at home, and now they come wobbling or hobbling their ass in and they want to make it a line of duty, all right? Get that down. When you need the witness, you don't need the witness, okay? And then look at the box we have right there where it says, think about this. Great point right here. If none of the above conditions exist, the cop is from the same precinct, is not likely, doesn't need to go to the hospital. The incident was witnessed and the MOS is on duty. The desk officer has no duties. Unreal, okay? That's the way it goes, okay? All right, additional data. If we have a vest which is struck by a bullet, the member must be examined by a doctor, even if they're apparently uninjured. When it comes to the member's home address and phone number for line of duties, it will not be disclosed unless an authorized supervisor determines the person is entitled. Hospital records for line of duty, we're going to use medical division's address and phone number, which is 1 Left Rec City Junction Boulevard. I don't think you need to know the exact address, just know you're using the medical division's address. We have arrows that bring you to a box on the right, which takes you to 21706, dealing with department vehicle collisions. We didn't cover that yet, so I'm not going to throw that out there, but if you want to look at it just to get it in your head, go ahead. When we cover 21706, we will bring you back to this procedure as well and remind you. Last part of this procedure before we take our first break. If we have an MOS who is dead, God forbid, or seriously injured and likely to die, we have a list of who can speak to the seriously injured member or view the body, okay? We have 5 supervisors: PC, First Dep, Chief of Department, Bureau Chief, Patrol Bureau CO, or Rep. We have 2 investigators: detective assigned to the case, crime scene unit detective or technician. 2 fraternal religious people, union rep and department chaplain. And then under certain circumstances, if they were transported by department ambulance, an ESU member can, watch out for the if, and if the member identifies as a female, Policewomen's Endowment Association. Interesting as a female because males can join the PEA as well, okay? Again, you got reality and you got test day, okay? Now I just want to throw something out at you. So, what boss can go to the hospital to speak to the seriously injured member or view the body if they're DOA, God forbid? PC, First Dep, Chief of Department, Bureau Chief, Patrol Bureau CO, or Rep, right? Now, go back up to desk officer notifications, third bullet. If the MOS is DOA or likely, they will notify who? Borough CO, Precinct COXO duty captain. Stop right there. So the Precinct COXO duty captain is getting notified if the MOS is DOA or likely. So DOA or seriously injured likely, they're going to the hospital, right? So you're notifying me as the duty captain. But guess what? I'm not allowed to go to the fucking hospital and speak to the injured member or view the body. Why the fuck did you notify me? Just to tell me, but then I can't go to the hospital. Doesn't make sense. Don't fight it. Just know that it's there in case they hit you on test day. All right. We're now going to take our first break just like we would at class. It's 10:25. Let's come back at 10:35 and we'll continue on with some more important AG procedures. All right, we are back. So we're going to start on page 32, chronic sick. So you have two types of chronic, A and B. All right, category A. How do you become category A? You report sick four or more times in 12 months. So I would write, because I like this, I think it sticks better. Write in report sick four or five times, because once we hit six, we're somewhere else. So report sick four or five times in 12 months, even though four or more is correct, you're chronic A. So you go sick four times or five times in 12 months, you're chronic A. Now, if you lose a certain amount of work days, something changes. Okay. So now how do you become category B, chronic sick? Report sick four or more times in 12 months and lose 40 or more work days, or you just go sick six or more times in 12 months, no work days come into play, and you are chronic B. Line of duties are hospitalizations. This is the rule. Initial line of duty sick or hospitalization at any time does not count towards chronic sick designation. Then it says outpatient service like ambulatory surgery is not considered hospitalization. All right. So for it not to count, you have to be admitted, stay overnight, get an admission number. Ambulatory surgery, this would not kick in. Okay. An initial line of duty. So if you get hurt today and you don't go sick, and now 3 weeks from now you want to go sick on that line of duty, guess what? That counts towards you becoming chronic. All right. How do we get off chronic? Member will be removed from chronic sick designation as follows. Off chronic A 6 months after return to duty if no subsequent sick occurrences, and off chronic B 9 months after return to duty if no subsequent sick occurrences. Can't mess that up. 69. Need I say more, guys and girls, all right? New line of duty or hospitalizations will not count as subsequent sick occurrences that would prevent the member from being removed from chronic sick designation. If chronic designation was revoked on an appeal, new sick occurrences would not extend the chronic designation period because chronic designation was revoked. Restrictions while you are chronic, all right? Chronic A or B does not automatically prevent promotion, off-duty employment, or obtaining a scholarship. Chronic B, member is not eligible for admin. Remember, we said that already, okay? And your chronic B, you're going to the Special Confidential Medical District, SMD, regardless of your residence and existing medical district. Yes, you are under house arrest if you're chronic B. You cannot leave your residence or other authorized location for the entire sick occurrence without the express permission of who? Special Confidential Medical District Surgeon, including when you're RDO. If you fail to report or you claim you cannot travel while you're chronic B, all right, what's going to happen? The Special Confidential Medical Division Supervisor will visit the member. If they deem you able to travel, you will be transported to SMD. If SMD determines the member could travel or there's no objective evidence of illness or injury claimed, ranking officer from the medical division will hit you with charges. And if SMD finds the member fit for duty and you go sick again for the same reason prior to your next tour, doctor examines and still shows there's no illness or injury, you may be suspended without pay. And then to see if the medical division gets involved, you don't need to know that, okay? Appealing chronic designation in the box. You are designated chronic A or B, whatever it is. And I'm going to tell you right now from experience, if you play the sick game and even you play it so well that you're never designated chronic and you want to go into a detail or you want to get you're going to get promoted because you're on the list, most likely you're going to be called down to go in front of the carb. What is that? I can tell you what that is because I was with the NYPD and I was a supervisor, right? It's the Career Advancement Review Board. They're going to call you in and they're going to say, "Hey, what this happened to me. I went to carb for my sergeant promotion because of a few things, but one of them was, hey, Officer Mifsud, you went sick. I'm going to make it up 97 times in 7 years, but you never went chronic. You really knew how to play the sick game. And you know what? They were right. I played it well. I made sure I never became chronic. And basically, you just have to fall on the sword and they don't have to promote you, right? So, my advice to you is don't play the sick game. Definitely don't go chronic, okay? So, you're designated chronic A or B, and you're saying it's a mistake and you want to appeal the designation. What do? You will, within 30 days of chronic designation, prepare a report on type letterhead, all right, to 49, to the CO of the medical division in duplicate. Present the 49 to your CO for review and recommendation. So it's 30 days of chronic designation. So if you're designated chronic on April 1st and you don't find out about it until April 10th, the clock already started for that 30 days on April 1st, all right? Another thing that just this brings me to here. This is another list I would make. Yeah, I get crazy with lists. I really do. I like passwords. I have a password list. I have a list for all my passwords. It's just crazy. It will help you on test day. Anytime you do a 49 addressed to somebody and it's going to somebody else, like here, it's addressed to the CO of the medical division, but you're giving it to your CO. When else have you seen that so far? And we're only in lesson 3. I know when it is. Hopefully you remember. It was in week 2. And I'm going to read it to you now. Lost or damaged uniform. All right. Remember, you're looking to get a replacement, whatever it is, duty pants, duty belt. All right. Replacement or get it repaired. You have to do a 49 to who? Deputy Commissioner of Management and Budget within 30 days of the incident. Give the 49 and that damaged, unrepaired article to your CO. That's another time right there. And if you can't do the 49, a boss will do it for you if you're incapacitated or something like that. Again, another list to start keeping track of. This is the way you will ace the exams, all right? We are telling you to do things for a reason because we've been through it. We've passed 3 exams, unlike others who are trying to teach you out there who were never with the NYPD. We know what we are doing. All right? Let's go to next page. Trauma counseling. 33007 includes civilians can be involved in this as well. All right? A member will be referred, uniform or civilian, to the trauma counseling team when involved in any of the following: a shooting, common sense, a disaster, or other violent occurrence resulting in death or injury, including but not limited to when an MOS is shot or seriously injured, MOS discharges the weapon causing injury or death to another. So trauma team kicks in, and this was a prior test question, all right? Look at the little box. Past test had a cop let a round go. He missed the perp, but there was powder burns from the shot. Trauma team, trauma procedure kicked in here, right? When else will you guys be referred to the trauma counseling unit or team? MOS causes death or SPI to another accidentally or otherwise. MOS directly involved in an incident where their partner was killed or seriously injured. MOS directly involved in an incident or serious disasters with multiple serious injuries and DOA. Trauma counseling will respond to all incidents involving MOS is shot, killed, or seriously injured in the line of duty, or any incident pursuant to a request from a captain or above. So on test day, sergeant, and if you're out there studying for lieutenant, you cannot request the trauma team, all right? Captain or above. Trauma counseling team is available to MOS, uniformed, and civilian involved in a personal or family tragedy. How do we get the trauma team? Easy test question that has appeared before, okay? The desk will notify operations. Don't call the trauma counseling team direct. You have to go through operations, provide details. Rank and supervisor at the scene. You will ensure members are available for interview by the trauma team where possible. Provide a suitable place for interview where possible. Next page. Skip the box for a minute. Go to MOS duties. MOS, who is referred to the trauma team. Cooperate, keep follow-up appointments with the trauma team. 48 hours after the incident or initial contact with trauma team counselors, you're going to report to the behavioral care and support section. For those that never heard of it, it used to be called psych services or other location as required. Now go up to the box, top left box. Follow-up meetings. Trauma counseling team will notify members that there will be contact for a follow-up meeting 48 hours after the event or initial contact is appropriate, and any later meeting scheduled 1 to 6 weeks after the incident. And everything is strictly confidential, including if civilians are taking part of this, all right? Little box on the right, trauma team rules. Trauma responds to the location, reports to a contact person at the scene, responds to the station house if required, visits place of occurrence if necessary. This one I would watch out because they could have you a sergeant on the scene and you want to use trauma members for something else. Trauma members will not be assigned any duties outside function as trauma counselors. That's it. Don't fight it. In reality, if we're getting shit thrown or airmail coming at us and we need these trauma counselors to do something else besides what they do, in reality, guess what? You're doing it, okay? I'm a boss. You're doing it, okay? Test A, no. Trauma will not interfere with ongoing investigations. They wear the nylon windbreaker as per AG 30504. All right, let's go to page 37. Exposure to infectious disease or hazmat upon being exposed, bitten, or punctured by a hypodermic needle. Any of those scenarios, this procedure kicks in. Let's go through some definitions first. Infectious disease can be transmitted, we're in the box on the right, transmitted by a person's blood or body fluid, or transmitted by an animal's saliva or central nervous system. Exposure to infectious disease can happen airborne or direct contact with suspected infected person or their body or blood. Injured by being bitten by a human or an animal, this procedure kicks in. Punctured by a hypo or sharp instrument, this procedure kicks in. Or exposed to an individual suspected of having infectious disease or contacts animal salivas or CNS. What is being exposed to hazmat? You could be at a chemical, biological, radiological substance that is a health hazard, and you could be exposed, all right, through inhalation, ingestion, or skin contact. So now the procedure itself, UMOS, notify desk officer precinct of occurrence, comply with directions of department surgeon, make digital activity log entry of the facts, including exposure report number. So first thing I want to mention that they can get you on, if they want to make it tricky, notify desk officer precinct of occurrence. So let's say you are 28 Sector Adam, all right? 28 Sector Adam, and you're transporting a perp down to Central Booking, which is in the confines of, we're talking about Manhattan now, the 5th Precinct, okay? You take the perp out, and somehow he wasn't searched good. He had a hypo, and he pokes you with the hypo. This procedure kicks in. You're exposed to infectious disease. In reality, who are you probably going to call or notify? Your supervisor. Look what it's telling you, desk officer precinct of occurrence. So don't call the 2A desk. You're calling the 5th precinct desk officer. Watch out for that if they try to play games there, right? So desk officer precinct of occurrence. You're going to obtain exposure number from the line of duty system. Make a command log entry, including the exposure report number. Notify designated department surgeon of facts. Cops at the scene already in contact with this person. The officer remains responsible for processing the person. We don't want to stick any other cops there so they can be exposed. If there are numerous people involved, then the patrol supervisor coordinates information and documentation of all involved MOS's information. All right, guidelines when exposed to infectious disease. Confer with EMS, family, friends, neighbors, doctors, or an agency. Wear disposable gloves if contact with blood or fluid is a possibility. Also, you will wear the heavy-duty rubber gloves if possible contact with suspected rabid animal saliva or CNS. Use extraordinary care to avoid accidental punctures from needles. Affix biohazard label to any contaminated property, evidence, or waste. And we didn't even talk about biohazard labels. That comes in 218 property, but it's Two quick bullets right there. If you need a biohazard label, you go to the desk officer. If the desk officer needs more, he gets them from the quartermaster. After removing the gloves, it says wash your hands with soap and water, disinfectant soap if possible. If no washing facilities available, use the glove kit with the antiseptic wipes. Remove and machine wash hot water or dry clean your clothing. Other non-fabric equipment, properly clean. Significantly contaminated items will be disposed of where? In the red biohazard liner, which comes in your patrol kit. Patrol kit is way, way down the road in 219. What happens if we have an accidental spill of blood or body fluid in the cells, on your nameplate, or the floor of the RMP? What do? It says we clean by using a freshly mixed solution of 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Don't let them mix and match the numbers, all right? Don't let them say 1 part water, 10 parts bleach. Why? Try it. Try it at home when nobody else is around, but do it outside and see what happens, all right? So again, you open somebody up in the cells and there's blood everywhere. What do? You know IAB is coming down. So what do? You follow the patrol guy procedure. You clean that blood up. You did nothing wrong. It says you have to clean that up, all right? That's right there. You're being exposed. So 1 part bleach to 10 parts water before IAB comes down and sees the floor that looks like somebody just had a fucking surgery, okay? Don't mix the bleach with other solutions. That becomes toxic gas. Don't use on clothing or on your hands. And you dispose of this in the sink, not in a urinal or a toilet. All right, regarding TB, if there's no actual injury but exposed to TB, consider the department's offer of Montauk skin testing. If positive test results, notify the unit safety officer to initiate entry on New York State Department of Labor log and summary of occupational injury and illness. TB infection and TB diseases are both recordable on DOSH 900 logs. I don't think any of this TB stuff is important, but we're going to go through it once. A code may be used to substitute for a description of injury or illness. And the last thing I want to mention is the little hypos there on the right. If you're dealing with hypos, it tells us to use the scoop technique. If you ever made collars, especially if you're a narco, you know what we're talking about, all right? Again, if you made collars, how do you make a collar? You got to be a cop, okay? So don't remove, bend, dislodge the needle from the syringe. Tape it if the needle is exposed. All right, let's go to next page. Pregnancy procedure. Another one they've gone to in the past. So we have a pregnancy medical district. Before we get into that, you have some abbreviations on the right. DS in this procedure is for district surgeon, and PMDS is your pregnancy medical district surgeon. So the pregnancy medical district is staffed by specifically designated surgeons and exclusively assigned nurse. Located at LEFRAC, exclusively serves pregnant UMOS. UMOS are seen at a separate time in a separate area to prevent exposure to illness. All right, UMOS. You find out you're pregnant. Phone who? Your district surgeon. Don't fall for the pregnancy district surgeon. You don't have one yet, okay? Phone your district surgeon of the pregnancy. The member does not have to visit personally. You're going to make a follow-up notification to your district surgeon and provide pregnancy due date. And believe it or not, this next line was a prior test question, okay? Email and department mail the original documentation that states you're pregnant from your private doctor. You are going to send an email and send it in department mail. On a prior exam, and you know I stress this in class, they changed the and to or. Extremely hard test question. Hopefully you don't see any of that on test day. Maybe you're going to see one. And I tell you all the time, watch out for those words, and, or, if, must, always, sometimes, never. Extremely strong words. Watch out, okay? District surgeon will advise you of immediate availability of position limitation status. Basically, you're going on limited. You can request to be placed on limited if desired. The member can stay on full duty or request limited unless high risk status requires you to be on limited. The district surgeon then sends your records to the PMDS. What's that? The Pregnancy Medical District Surgeon. All right. Department recommends the member register at PMDS as early as possible. All communication regarding pregnancy and your limited status between you and the doctor are confidential. Okay. When you're on limited, it's non-enforcement duty. Okay. I'm sure you know that. It's like being restricted. Okay. Maternity leave. Now, by the way, this procedure was asked more than once. Maternity leave. Pregnancy medical district surgeon will place the member on leave approximately as follows. So you go on maternity leave 0 to 4 weeks before the due date, and you come off maternity leave 12 to 16 weeks post-delivery, your return to duty. You may specifically request to commence leave earlier or later than 4 weeks prior. PMDS makes determination on a case-by-case basis. If granted, requests to go out later than the 4-week prior sick leave may be credited to the end of the pregnancy leave. Total sick leave should not exceed 16 weeks unless there's some type of emergency. What uniform do you wear when you are pregnant? Again, reality, we usually let the pregnant females come in with comfortable clothes, right? Sweatpants or whatever you want to call them, joggers, okay? Test day, book world, you ought to wear your uniform. There's going to be an exception. Pregnant, wear uniform. So what does it say? You may wear your business attire with ID card on outermost garment when appropriate. So you may wear. If you're not wearing it, wear uniform. And your business attire is the same as what you'd wear to court or a professional career interview. Following notifications have to be made to the pregnancy medical district surgeon regarding post-delivery. Confirm the actual delivery date should be done within 10 days of delivery date and during your 8th week post-delivery to allow PMDS to determine your return date. If additional sick time is required, you're going to send PMDS documentation. And then it says follow 33221 for accommodations or leave to express breast milk upon return from sick. That's in today's lesson. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not covering that. Doesn't mean you don't read it, okay? We have a little timeline in the chart on the bottom. Good timeline, good recap. Okay, next page. Regarding being placed on limited. If you're placed on limited, you may be reassigned to a different non-enforcement command, or you may be retained in your command depending on the needs of the department. Additional pregnancy-related accommodations, you'll contact PMDS or OEO. If you go sick, what do? It says follow the procedure we covered earlier, 33001, but you're reporting to the pregnancy medical district surgeon instead of the department surgeon. Reoccurring pregnant-related illness. If a member submits documentation from the private doctor and PMDS approves, reoccurring pregnant-related illness will count as one sick occurrence. It says you could be placed on chronic for repeated, undocumented, and unapproved sick leaves. Now we have a list. The following are considered normal part of pregnancy and will not automatically be consolidated into one sick. Nausea, lower back pain, mild leg swelling, fatigue, and any other conditions limited to a few days duration. That's a catch-all there. What about a pregnancy pass? Do we get a pregnancy pass? PMDS may grant a pass if it won't adversely impact your health. And the pre-delivery pass will be voided after you're hospitalized. What about investigative track? Deductions of investigative time while unlimited and performing normal investigative duties may be appealed. So it says you may not get investigative time if you're limited because you're pregnant. Pregnancy alone does not preclude promotion. You're supposed to get promoted, all right? And this next bullet was actually an answer on a prior sergeant exam. If you are out pregnancy leave, you do not have to qualify or go to the range during pregnancy. Don't even have to be out leave. I mean, if you're in the command unlimited because you're pregnant, you do not have to qualify at the range. If you have to go to court, grand jury, or other government agency appearance, It says where business attire or uniform may be worn. Now we're going to go backwards, page 1 of today's lesson. Moving right along. Vacation policy. All right, vacation is granted according to seniority and rank. POs and detectives you pick by date of appointment to your rank. The number of POs and detectives allowed to have the same week is decided by the number of people in the squad if appropriate. Supervisors, they pick by seniority and rank. How many supervisors have the same selection will be based according to an administrative guide procedure 32404. What if it's a tie in seniority? It will never actually be a tie because you're going to follow these rules, all right? It says if the same appointment date, seniority is then decided by the exam number. It could still be a tie. You could still be from the same exam, all right? Older exam beats the newer exam. What if you're both from the same exam? All right, seniority is based on the list number on that exam. You can't have the same list number. To obtain exam and list numbers, you will contact the Uniform Exams and Promotions Unit. Prior civilian NYPD position, same appointment date. It says POs or detectives with service as a cadet, traffic enforcement agent or associate, school safety agent or a school safety supervisor or precinct communications tech, appointed or for promotion exam have seniority over POs and detectives with the same appointment date. Here we go with some numbers in this procedure. The 12% rule, get the number down. In a precinct, PSA, or transit district, we're talking about a patrol related command. No more than 12% of POs and detectives, don't let them slip sergeant there, in a precinct, PSA, or district can be on vacation at the same time. 12%. No more than 12%. So let me ask you this, all right? Is 12% okay on test day? Yes, it's okay. Remember when it comes to numbers, knowing that number is half the battle. No more than 12% is when there's a problem, okay? Just like the property. I'm going to go back to it. What's the property rule going back to desk officer? Remember the rule. And if you don't know the rule, you're going to have a problem on test day because every class I come back to this 30-day, right? Every desk officer makes command log entry regarding invoice property. Then, if you have property in the command in excess of 30 days, you're going to remember 30. So that means more than 30 days, you got to make that extra command log entry. Yes. What else do you have to do? I know it. Do you know it? All right. 3 things when you have the over 30-day property. Command log entry, notify who? Ops coordinator. Third, get the shit out of the command. Expedite delivery to wherever it has to go. Thank the 114 precinct for this years ago, all right? They're the ones that made this come into effect. So again, no more than 12% of POs, detectives in precinct PSA district can be on vacation at the same time. Staff in UMOS on special tours picked separately from other uniform members in the command. 12% rule will be maintained if possible. Other than being assigned to a precinct, PSA, or district, now the CO decides, but the 12% rule will try to be adhered to if possible. Slide to the box on the right real quick. Probationary police officers, while in the academy, cannot take vacation. After graduating from the academy, they can take vacation in excess of the 12% rule. Carryover days. Now, this definitely doesn't apply in reality. This tells us the max amount of time we're allowed to carry over into the next calendar year. There's some guys and or girls who have thousands of hours on the books. No good on test day, all right? So POs through deputy chief, 1-star chief. This is the rule. The max number of days you can carry over are 15 days plus your 2 IVDs, but those IVDs have to be used, you're going to see, in a certain time frame. So the max amount of days you can carry over is 17 days. Again, reality and test day, book world, 2 different worlds. Stay focused. When can a member pick a vacation slot with carryover days? On an ad hoc basis after all uniform members have made their selection, subject to agencies of the department, and 12% rule is still in effect. Carryover days due to a member being out sick, accrued rules do not apply to vacation loss due to sick leave. Upon return to duty, a member should take vacation without delay. Top of the next page, we're going to talk about IVDs. IVDs. You get 2 IVDs. You must be selected each year when you do your vacation picks, all right? And you may only take one of the Lieutenant Nick holidays. And before we get into that, only 2% of UMOS in the Uniform Patrol Command can take IVDs at the same time. So we already mentioned 12%. Now we mentioned another number, 2%. So you can take one Lieutenant Nick holiday as your IVD. Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, New Year's Day, Independence Day, Christmas Day. Notice they're all days. So what they're saying is you can't take, let's use Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day as your IVDs. Only one. But you can throw an Eve in there. So you could take Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as your 2 IVDs, and you are okay. All right. Picking IVDs, you may select when making your regular picks, or you can pick later, but then it's subject to obviously agencies of the service. Carry over in your IVDs. They said you can carry over 15 days plus your 2 IVDs, right? You can carry them 2 into the next year, but must be used by the last day of February. Easy to remember. You can carry the 2 over to the next year, and they have to be used by the end of the second month. 2 and 2. Don't forget it, okay? Next year's vacation schedule, the CO or designee will ensure the list is made prior to January 1st so vacations can start on January 1st if possible. You know, in reality, some of you don't get the vacation picks till fucking February, but you're supposed to have it by January 1st so you can start picking, okay? Prior to January 1st. Vacation rules. Look at the rules. This is good for you to know as well. RDOs. So days immediately prior, within, and immediately following your vacation are part of the vacation. So your RDOs before your vacation starts, in the middle of your vacation, or at the end of your vacation, they are part of your vacation. They should not call you into work. RDOs now, before and after an IVD, are not an integral part of the vacation. So now they could call you in, but they should not do it, all right? Only scheduled work days may be chosen as vacation or IVDs. Vacation starts at the beginning of a set of tours and consists of a complete set if possible. When the time comes, you may use all or part of your picks on the current annual squad vacation selection. Member does not take selected vacation or any part of. What do you do? Inform the CO 5 days prior to the scheduled start. Never happens. So you pick a week and you decide you're not going to do it. Test day, you got to tell the CO 5 days prior. So what just happened there? We just broke the chain of command. Go to your list. Document it, breaking the chain of command list. All right, get that list together. Those guys and girls that are really doing this list, give me the list at the end, and we will help you towards the next promotional course that we run, okay? That list will be valuable, and we would love to get the data, even though, you know, we can get it ourselves, but let's see what you guys and girls come up with. All right, 28, digital leave of absence request using the CPR. Must submit at least 5 calendar days. Now be careful throughout the guide. You're going to have calendar days. You're going to have business days. You're going to have work days, working days, whatever it is. Pay attention to the type of days. So you must submit at least 5 calendar days in advance for vacation pick using your IVDs, chart days, comp time, prior year's vacation, special leave for former military or commander's days. You could be subject to discipline for not submitting the 5 days in advance, but you cannot be denied annual vacation or IVD for submitting late if properly submitted. So note right there in the box, there are 7 types of vacation days off you must submit for 5 days in advance. Only 2 of the 5 cannot be denied. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the questions in our app. And I saw an email that came in and the student was confused, all right? Why was he confused? because it was a very well written, challenging question. Okay. The command timekeeper enters vacation picks in the command diary. To forego entire vacation pick or portion thereof. Again, inform the CO 5 days in advance. You may change picks to fill a vacant period only with permission of the CO. So look, in reality, you want to change a vacation pick, you're probably going to your ops coordinator in the command. Test day, nope, CO. You want to make a mutual vacation swap with somebody else in the command. Who are you going to? Your CO. Don't let them get you with the ops coordinator. What happens? Made a vacation pick and now you get transferred. Cops and detectives, police officers and detectives retain selections when transferred. Minor adjustments may be made for their new chart. Supervisors may, if the efficiency of the command is not impaired, so you're not guaranteed to keep your vacation pick, and minor adjustments may be made to reflect new chart assignments. Next one mentions COXO and ops coordinator vacation picks. So this procedure just has vacation policy rules, really no actor attached. So you're kind of responsible. It's very easy. So here's the rule. Neither the XO, executive officer, nor the ops coordinator can take vacation at the same time as the CO. Very easy to remember, okay? And any vacation granted in excess of the yearly allowance will be deducted from next year's. Okay, next page, next procedure. This one, I'm only going to cover it because some guys like to add more money into their yearly salary by working their vacation. Okay, requesting UMOS. Your you want to work during your vacation, so you're going to give up obviously your vacation days. You're going to work it, and you're going to get back straight time for those 5 days. Okay, so who does this apply to? Full duty lieutenants and below who can perform patrol in uniform. You only use your annual vacation time. You can't say, hey, I want to use 5 days of lost time, okay? It's 5 continuous days unless you work a 4 day work week, then it's 4 days. So you want to work your vacation. What do? You, the one that wants to work, is going to do the work. You're going to request by preparing a vacation work request. You're going to give it to your CO. I would definitely pay attention. All right, we're breaking the chain of command and his time frames. Give it to your CO at least 6 weeks prior, but no more than 8 weeks prior to desired dates. But 6 to 8 is your numbers there, right? Dates must be continuous and be regularly scheduled working days. Once you're approved, you're then going to report to the desk officer and obtain a command log entry at the start and end of tour. So hopefully they keep you in your command. I've done this, and I went to another command and worked, okay? If that's the scenario, you go to that desk officer wherever you're working. So you go to the desk officer, get a command log entry, start and end of tour, provide rank, name, tax, permanent command, and schedule tour. At the end of tour, you're going to give the desk officer the vacation work request. If the command doesn't have a desk officer, submit to immediate supervisor. The supervisor to whom it was submitted reviews for accuracy, completeness, makes a command log entry, and signs the vacation work request. At the end of the week, this is how the vacation work request goes, the paperwork. Upon completion of your last tour, certify accuracy of dates and tours by signing the vacation work request and submit to who? Be careful in case you go to a different command. CO or designee of command where duty was performed. Don't let them get you with your CO unless you're working and they kept you in your own command for that, all right? And here's the rules. You're paid at straight time, no travel time unless it says you must usually stay in one command, but if you fly out, then travel time does apply. You're going to give up vacation days, not accrued time, all right? And you get back straight time pay. And we already said if your work week's 5 tours, that's what you're going to work. If it's a 4-day work week, you're going to work 4 days. All right. Let's go to next page. Authorized leave. So you want to take off, basically, right? You have 28. You're going to prepare a digital leave of absence request using the CPR system. You're going to submit the 28 to who? CO supervisory head. What's the time frame? 5 days prior, unless there's an emergency, okay? When it comes to terminating leave, the only one that can terminate leave is the police commissioner, all right? Look at this. You're going to complete the location during absence section unless you're a military or leave without pay 30 calendar days or more. This is never done in reality. Back of the 28, well, when we're looking at a hard copy, all right, years ago it was a hard copy. You're supposed to complete the location during absence section, basically where you're going to be for that time off, unless one of the two, military leave, you don't have to do it, or leave without pay 30 calendar days or more. If you're remaining at your residence, you're going to enter residence and include location and dates. If you're not at your residence during the leave, the member should enter country, city, or town, departure date, and return date. If you want to go on leave without pay, you have to take time off, no problem. All right, you're not going to get paid for it. It says you must use all accrued leave prior, except if you're going on military leave. Leave without pay non-military for 30 consecutive days. Vacation time gets reduced by 1/12 for each 30 days. I wouldn't worry about this stuff here, or I'm going to blow right through it. 1 year or more leave without pay members cannot take unaccrued time until 3 months on active duty, except when authorized by law. And if on extended leave, whatever it is, educational or without pay or a hardship, member must communicate with MELD. Who is that? Military Extended Leave Desk. Little box over here before we get to the big box. Religious holiday is a leave without pay granted for a religious holiday. The number rule is no more than 1/6 of a squad may be on such leave. Now, let's just, before we get into the E-Day attempt, let's go over the rules, the numbers we just said. We had 12%, 2%, and 1/6. I'm going to read it word for word. Again, you don't need to know it word for word, but the more you hear it, the more you write it, the more you read it, it's going to be here floating around. And test day, you only need to identify. Yes, I've taken 3 exams, passed them all. I've taken obviously more when we were allowed to take it. I'm speaking from experience. You just need to be able to identify, okay? So again, the 12%, what's that state? No more than 12% of POs and detectives, remember, no sergeants in there, in a precinct, PSA, or district on vacation at the same time. 2%, only 2% of UMOS and a uniform patrol command can take IVDs at the same time. And we just said 1/6, no more than 1/6 of a squad may be on such leave. Last thing we're going to cover before we take our last break. E-Day attempts get documented. Yes. MOS must receive approval from the desk officer on duty at the time of the request. Desk officer is the answer on test day. You're in a specialty unit in your command. In reality, you're probably hitting up your boss. Hey, I need to bang in. Fine. That is reality. Test day, you're going to the desk officer on duty at that time. And you only ask for an E-Day between the end of your last tour and the start of your next one. You can't call up and say, hey, boss, I need an E-Day 5 days from now. That's not a fucking E-Day, dude. E-Day is emergency day. What do? Drop a 28 the way you're supposed to, right? Other requests, like I just said, submit 28 in advance to the CO in the usual manner. Desk officer, once a decision is made, the desk makes an entry on the CPR roll call system, whether approved or not. So you just had a phone call come in. Hey, Officer Mifsud, trying to get an E-Day. Whether the desk approves or doesn't approve, where is it going? CPR system roll call. Don't let them say telephone message log, like most of our communications that go out or come in are documented, all right? The CPR entry will include member's name and rank and whether approved or disapproved. If approved, the desk on duty at the time will ensure 28 is prepared. And then look at this. If you get disapproved and you go to another boss to get that E-Day, because some of you are sneaky little bastards out there, right? I'm telling you right now, don't do that. You will be labeled in the command and you are going to have a hard way to go for a while. Okay. Basically, don't boss shop. If you boss shop, the desk told you no, and you get caught, you could face discipline. It says right here in the procedure. In reality, you are going to have a hard time. All right. Let's take our last break. It's 11:20. We will kick back off at 11:30 for the remainder of these important AG procedures. All right, ready to rock and roll for the last segment of today's lesson. I'm very happy to report that nobody showed up to Deer Park looking for today's class. That means you read the email, or you got our message on IG, or you got the text message. You sent the text message out for the people that go to Suffolk County as well. Makes me happy that you are at least paying attention to the details, because if you can't pay attention to these little things, come February, you're going to have a problem on test day. Last thing I want to mention is don't forget, if you're not a key student, all right, because this is out there to everybody, shoot us a message if you want to learn with the best. And also for the key students out there that are looking to do extra, take the Rising Star course. Their questions are extremely challenging, just like ours are that Inspector Russo is writing. If you're looking to take the Rising Star to get the extra questions, all they are questions, all right? They are offering a discount to any key student. We will give you a code to use. You're going to be verified that you're a key student, and you will save money on enrolling in their course. This is only for key students that are looking to take Rising Star. You will get the discount. If you're a student of some other school and you're looking for the discount, oh well. Let's go now to jury duty on page 6. UMOS, when you get notified you have jury duty or to report to jury duty, you ought to make 2 notifications, roll call and your immediate supervisor. If jury duty conflicts with department court appearances, you have to make 2 more notifications, your CO and appearance control unit. If you're scheduled to work on a day you're scheduled for jury duty, you're excused from work, and for payroll purposes, you begin at 0800 hours. Jury duty alert. How does that work? Comply with directives of the court concerning the next jury duty appearance. If activated, notify your command. If you're going sick while on jury duty, you will notify your command and/or medical division if required, and the appropriate court. If you're already out sick when directed to appear at jury duty, what do? Notify the medical division. The medical division will carry you in the out of residence log, so we expect you to go to jury duty even if you're out sick. Upon returning to the residence from jury duty, again, notify the medical division immediately. If jury duty appearance ends before your end of tour, you want to notify your command to request excusal for the remainder of your tour. If jury duty extends past your scheduled tour, you will not be paid overtime. Sorry, you're doing your civic duty, all right? If on jury duty and court is closed, report for your regularly scheduled tour. RDOs and jury duty. It says your RDOs shall not be adjusted to accommodate jury duty appearance. And after jury duty is completed, what do? You give the ICO, your ICO official documentation, which is going to be the certificate of service with your attendance date and time that the court gives you. So ICO did not appear at all yet. If you look up above, we mentioned roll call, we mentioned immediate supervisor, we mentioned CO, we mentioned appearance control. Now we're mentioning ICO, all right? Any questions regarding jury duty, you can call the commanding officer of labor relations. Court fees. How do you keep money when you're on jury duty? It says the travel fees, you can keep the travel fees from the court. Jury duty fee. Only if RDO or vacation will you keep the jury duty fee, all right? RDO or vacation. Speaking of vacation, the box in the middle. When jury duty conflicts with your scheduled annual vacation, what are you supposed to do? Notify your command and do one of the following. Attempt to postpone jury duty. That's what you should do. I love the next one. Cancel your vacation or portion thereof. Yeah, good luck with that shit. Or perform jury duty on your vacation, and you can retain the jury duty fees because you were on vacation. All right, page 13. Overtime. Love overtime. I'm sure you all do, right? 3 types of overtime: non-ordered, ordered, and emergency order. Non-ordered. is an extension of your tour by 15 minutes or more to prevent interruption of service. This is what most of you get all the time, all right? Kala, aided case, whatever it is, and you work beyond your tour. Not authorized for administrative duties at any level. Ordered overtime. Only authorized by the PC First Step Chief of Department. Who are those people? Three wise men. Okay. Such as a detail required for ongoing or future operational situations, demonstrations, or parade. Administrative ordered overtime for extra duty required for ongoing or future operational situations. And the last type of overtime is emergency ordered. Again, only authorized by PC First Step Chief of Department. That's when our chart will be suspended. Emergency work, when work schedule is suspended by the department for a large disorder or disaster like 9/11. It was all the charts were thrown out the window. So we just mentioned ordered OT and emergency ordered OT, only authorized by who? PC, First Dep, Chief of Department. Three wise men is what I call them, but now two of them are women, right? Tish and Kinsella. If you go back in your head, I mentioned this for sure at my class in last week's lesson. When you need permission from the three wise men, it goes back to 30413. Okay, you want to wear your uniform off duty and outside New York City. You need permission from one of the three wise men. Off duty and outside New York City. Inside New York City, who are you going to? Your CO. Also, you want to take your firearm outside New York State. Again, whose permission? One of the three wise men. If that doesn't sound familiar, you got a problem. Go back and review last week's lesson, okay? All right, so when a UMOS below the rank of captain performs overtime, you are going to do your overtime slip, all right? Give it to the desk officer when dismissed, or if you're at outside command, give it to that desk officer. Immediate supervisor, you'll give it to if you had a parade or demonstration. That boss, whoever you give it to, will make a command log or digital activity log entry at time of dismissal, certified dismissal time on the OT report, forward OT report to the CO of the member's permanent command. If you're at a detail, what happens? All right. Now think about this and compare it to the last time you were at a detail. Like tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video, we have the Israeli Day parade. Okay. I'm not going to get into politics, but shame on that new mayor we have. What a disgrace. Okay. Not taking part of that parade. So you're at a detail and you make overtime. What happens? You know how it is when you're a cop. You're at the end of, you're waiting there. You're waiting there. The detail is over. Now you're all mustered up wherever you were told to muster up. And what are you waiting for? You're waiting for that dismissal time that's going to go on your OT slip, right? You're going to get the boss there to sign your OT slip and you're going to dart back to your command with the OT slip. You all know this because you all experienced it. Again, except for the one person out there trying to teach you how to be a supervisor that never experienced this. You all experienced this. It doesn't flow like that on test day. You're out of detail. What happens? Commander at large details collect certified OT reports from subordinate bosses, has them forwarded to members' permanent command. OT slip will not be returned to the requesting member at a detail. You don't take it with you on test day, okay? OT reports are normally submit OT report at the end of tour. If your command is closed, submit a next scheduled tour. Even if the member goes on vacation, it's still submitted on their next scheduled tour. Comp time, the max amount of time, it says 5 days. If a member has more than 5 days, you must be taken within 30 days, needs of the service permitting. So we can take 5 days over in comp time, and vacation and IVD, we can carry over 17, right? 15 vacation days and your 2 IVDs. But remember, the IVDs have to be used by the end of February. And now when it comes to comp time, we can carry over 5 days worth of comp time. Again, reality, some of you have thousands or hundreds of hours on the books. But in any event, comp time must be taken within 1 year of the date earned. Box on the bottom. When court attendance results in OT, whether it's cash or time, you're going to attach an OT report to the court appearance information report from the CPR system and submit it to the desk officer or supervisor for approval. If court appearance information report is not attached, what happens? Desk officer or boss will ensure the court slip is attached as above. If no court slip attached, the desk officer or supervisor will not approve without an investigation. After the desk officer or supervisor investigates, OT may be approved if appropriate. Failure to submit OT request in a timely manner will not impact on payment according to FLSA. Penalty for not attaching the court slip is a separate disciplinary action, and we're going to cover that next week. It's actually an A command discipline, which is called failure to submit reports in a timely manner, and you can lose up to 5 days, but you don't have to lose any time, up to 5 days for a Schedule A command discipline. Since we're mentioning it, the other type of CD you need to know is a Schedule B command discipline. You can lose up to 10 days. All right, let's go now to page 24. 329.10. Going to mention this procedure and go through it because when Police Commissioner Tisch took over, there were people who were transferred all over the job based on a telephone message or telephone record. And look at what the first rule is. Under no circumstances, never, will transfers via telephone message be authorized. Under no circumstances, no good. All right? UMOS excused from duty during the 8 hours immediately preceding effective time of transfer. No UMOS is to be assigned to their resident precinct. No UMOS in housing can be assigned to a PSA covering developments within their resident precinct. I want to go back to that for a minute. We covered this last week. No UMOS on probation can be transferred without approval of who? First DEP. And now look at the next line. UMOS transferred in the past 12 months cannot be transferred without conferral with the chief of personnel. So 2 different bosses in these last 2 bullets. Don't let them get you with that. So let's go back up to these precinct rules. You can't be assigned to your resident precinct. Very, very simple. Let's say you live in the 2-5. You can't be assigned to the 2-5, right? Let's say you live in a 2-5. Can you be assigned to the 2-8? Yes, you can. Can you be assigned to the 3-2? Yes, you can. Now, look at the next rule. No UMOS in housing can be assigned to a PSA covering developments within their resident precinct. So what is that saying? PSA 5, let's use, right? Covers the 2-5, 2-8, 3-2. If you are assigned to PSA 5, you cannot live in the 2-5, 2-8, or 3-2. But if you are assigned to a precinct, let's say you live in the 2-5, can you work in the 2-3 or the 2-8? Yes, you can. You just cannot work in the 2-5. But if you're assigned to housing PSA 5, you're restricted from any of the precincts that PSA covers, which is 2-5, 2-3, 2-5, 2-8, whatever it is. And if I'm mixing one of the 2 up, that's fine. You know the point I'm trying to make. Next procedure. You want to get transferred. What do? Best way to get transferred is to get promoted. Pass this sergeant exam and you are getting transferred, okay? All right, UMOS, the transfer procedure. We're going to use the Personnel Online System for Transfer, also known as POST. It's a database for UMOS to apply for a transfer. It's used to transfer from one operational command to another, precinct to precinct, precinct to district, PSA, etc., or career path transfer to a specialized unit or non-operational command like SOD, Highway, TARU, etc. All right, so you want to go from one patrol operational command to another. What do? The cop. Prepare application for transfer via post. Select up to 3 choices of patrol, housing, transit bureau commands. Select mutual if it applies and complete related captions. Next line deals with numbers. I would highlight it. Only one application for transfer can be submitted in a 12-month period. Ensure the application is fully and accurately completed as per instructions on the form. Member will receive a message verifying submission, and once submitted, you may only change or modify that transfer request by doing a 49 to who? The CO Personnel Orders Division. Inform your CO of the application and request a CO's recommendation be electronically prepared via post. Now, if you want to transfer to a specialized unit or non-operational command, what do? Prepare application for transfer via post in response to the position vacancy that you made aware of. You may submit up to 3 applications in 12 months. Ensure the application is fully and accurately completed as per instructions on the form. Member will receive a message verifying submission. Once submitted, it cannot be changed. If submitted in error, like you put down the wrong unit, you request it to be voided by doing a 49 to the CO personnel orders and make a new one in post. Upon notification of selection for an interview, you're going to request the CO's recommendation, bring a copy of the recommendation to the interview. And if you want to withdraw your application, you do a type letterhead. When we say type letterhead, you know what that is, a 49. Type letterhead to the CO Personnel Orders Division and notify your CO. Top of the next page. The level 2 or 3 monitoring, that's not going to really apply to you, okay? That's more for a CO. Go to the investigative track. You must have 4 minimum years in rank prior to entering the detective investigative track. Exceptions based on needs of the department and with approval of the PC. It says career path doesn't limit or change department's right or managerial prerogative to assign people. Completing the application doesn't guarantee a transfer or assignment. Any questions regarding this post system, you are to contact Personnel Orders Division. Here is one of the recap boxes that I am so proud to say we do the best of, comparing information within the same procedure, sometimes other procedures as well. Please look at that on your own. Let's go to page 21, last procedure for today. Resignations. Yes, we're going to cover resignations, and there's other procedures in here, 329, when people retire regularly, vest out, okay? Definitely go through them. This is the last procedure for today. Resignations, because believe it or not, we have a lot of people who just leave the job, all right? Quit the job. That's what we're talking about when we're resigning here. They leave, they're not getting to get a pension or anything like that. Whether they hate the job or they have 2 years on and now they have a better offer to go somewhere else. They're resigning. So you want to resign. You ought to report to your permanent command and notify your CO. If the CO is not present, notify the desk officer. Desk officer, what do? Make a command log entry of the resignation. You'll obtain the old Metro card is now called New York City Transit NYPD Omni Police Pass. Get their Long Island Railroad if they got one, Metro North Pass if they got one, and have it hand delivered to the Shield ID and Uniform Services Unit. Desk, you ought to notify operations with the member's pedigree. Rank, name, Shield, tax, Social Security, command, date of appointment, date and hour of resignation. Here's an if now. Notify OSHA section if the resigning member says they do not feel safe in their work environment. On the last working day, the person resigning will be assigned to the day tour. If it's a Saturday or Sunday, they must go to the police pension fund on a Friday and perform clerical duties on the last day, Saturday or a Sunday. Resigning member. You're going to prepare a property clerk invoice listing firearms to be safeguarded. Prepare an acquisition disposition of firearm report for each firearms safeguarded. You got 3 guns, or let's say most of you have 2, right? Your service and an off duty. You have to do 2 acquisition disposition of firearm reports. You're going to deliver the firearms to the borough property clerk office only with the above reports. That's the voucher and the acquisition. Go to the pension fund on last working day in civilian clothes, and you're going to bring PRDS, stands for, if you want to write it in, we have it throughout all the other procedures. Property receipt, discontinuance of service. You're going to bring that piece of paper, all department property, and 2 copies of your voucher. If you refuse to report to the pension fund, the CO accepts your property and has this delivered. So now, on your last day, all of this property gets handed off or delivered to specific units. Most of it you can pretty much guess your way through if it appears on test day. Shield and ID card, where is that going? Shield ID and Uniform Services Unit. Helmet, OC spray and holster. That's going to FTS headquarters range, officer in charge. NYPD restricted parking permit or the headquarters annex parking permit or any other department issued permit. It's going to the ICO to ensure return is recorded in department record book. NYPD vehicle ID plate goes to your ICO and ensure messenger sends it to the chief of department's VIU, vehicle identification unit. Department issued bullet resistant vest, police academy ballistic vest unit. Cell phone, laptop, portable radio with accessories if you have it. MiFi device and or VPN token. Where's that going? ITB, telecommunications unit at 1PP. Tactical retreat hood, ballistic tac helmet. Where's that going? ICO, who ensures it's forwarded to the quartermaster CBRN unit. Body worn camera. Where's that going? ICO, who ensures it's forwarded to ITB telecommunications unit. Be careful of that. Don't take the body worn camera along with your cell phone, laptop, and the other stuff right to ITB. Body worn camera, ICO, who will have it forwarded to ITB telecommunications unit. A lot of this stuff is going to your ICO. Please know what's in that chart because this applies to the other retiring procedures as well. Next page. Desk officer, when the property receipt discontinuance of service comes back in department mail from the pension fund, you're going to file in the property receipt book. And who are you going to notify? This was a prior test question. Member resigns. You're going to notify CO, roll call clerk, and next higher command, which is actual same thing as your borough. Excuse me. Okay, now we have 2 scenarios we have to deal with. The first scenario, the guy resigning was in person. Now we have the scenario where the cop resigning is resigning in person, but not at their permanent command, and they are not going to the pension fund. They just, maybe they pop in, they're just driving along in their car and they say, you know what? Fuck this NYPD shit. I quit. And they drive by the next precinct and boom, they show up in that command. Lucky desk officer that's dealing with this guy that said, fuck it, I quit. All right. Desk officer, command of resignation. You're going to prepare resignation and exit interview. Request the cop to sign it, indicate refusal. If they refuse, sign and distribute as indicated on the bottom of the form. You will notify operations, MOS's permanent command, and here's the big if again, OSHA, if they feel unsafe at work. Then you will make a command log entry of the resignation, including names of person notified. Question members concerning the location of the property. Instruct them that benefits, pension contributions won't be returned till all property is accounted for. Instruct that the PC will decide if resignation is without permission. Assign UMOS to deliver property of the resigning member to permanent command. Instruct MOS to contact the pension fund regarding benefits. Desk officer permanent command. So we have the first desk officer command of resignation where the cop just decided to show up and quit, right? Now the desk officer where he's assigned. Have 3 forms: property receipt, discontinuance of service, the voucher, acquisition, disposition of firearm prepared. Inspect the cop's 10 card. Have a uniform supervisor. They specify uniform supervisor and a clerical MOS. We want to witness, open the cop's locker and obtain department property. Have a uniformed member deliver the firearm to the borough property clerk with forms. Assign MOS to deliver 5 copies of the property receipt discontinuance of service, 2 copies of the voucher and all property to the pension fund. Check return copy of your property receipt discontinuance received from the pension fund to ensure all department property and firearms are accounted for and safeguarded. Next scenario, resigns other than in person. You just wake up and you look outside and you say, I don't want to work for the NYPD no more. I quit. Fuck this job. Okay, so he's resigning other than in person. Desk officer members command. You're going to assign a sergeant and clerical MOS to open the member's locker and obtain department property. You're going to make a command log entry. If the department property is at a different location, you're going to request the desk officer of the designated precinct, wherever the property is, to assign a boss to the specified location to obtain the property. The precinct designated will be determined by the location of the property. Supervisor at the designated precinct will obtain the property and deliver property to the desk officer at the permanent command. And desk officer permanent command, you take the steps above as far as possible regarding preparation of forms and delivery of property. That is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this live stream lesson, okay? Remember, you got to do your homework. So first thing you need to do, later on today, finish whatever was not covered in today's lesson. So you have all of today's lesson covered. Then what you should do is, not today, tomorrow, start reading what is due for next lesson, okay? And we said what we're covering next week. 331 evals, 332 EEO, 318 discipline. Read it from our lesson plan, all right? Then what do? Go back and continue with your review of lesson 1, lesson 2, and even this lesson. You got to keep doing this. Get in a routine because it's all going to come back to you in February. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Be safe out there. And anybody who watched this that is not a key student, send us an email, all right? If you want to jump in and learn from the best, if you want that Rising Star discount on their question, send us an email so we can verify that you're with us, and we'll give you the code to purchase over at Rising Star, okay? Until I see you 2 weeks from now, be safe out there, and remember, preparation is the key.